Okay, so welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening for our webinar. We are super excited to launch OmniSign Small Case. This is a great opportunity for all investors and partners. It opens up a lot of new investment, interesting ideas for investors, and it opens up a lot of different actionability and opportunity for advisors, wealth managers, and partners for us. On this call, I am joined by my colleague, Dr. Vikas Gupta, and he will be taking us through what is the idea behind OmniSign Small Cases, how we can go about allocating clients' assets on this, and at different operational aspects which revolve around OmniSign Small Cases. Hope you will find it very enjoyable, and you will learn a lot of things during this webinar. So I'll hand this over to my colleague, Dr. Vikas Gupta. Yeah, Vikas, please take it forward.
Hello, everyone. We are glad to launch the OmniSign Small Case today. As you can see, our focus tagline is enhanced safety, enhanced returns. So that is behind all of our strategies. Earlier, this used to be available only to HNIs, and that's why we put the scientific investing for all now that we are on small case. These are some registration, etc. information, contact information. Let me get directly to the problem we are addressing with OmniSign Small Cases. So this is the problem. Okay, you can see two pie charts here. One is for a typical HNI and one is for a retail individual investor, RII, right? So HNI versus RII. You can see all the blue colored assets are, this is the full pie chart for the assets. The blue colored portion is supervised by independent financial experts. So that could be a mutual fund distributor or partner. And as you can see, for the HNI category, and we're not talking about our clients, we're talking of clients in general. So HNIs in India, this is how typically their portfolio looks like. Nearly 90% to 100% of that is supervised by some expert, as opposed to retail investors, maybe 30 to 40% is under supervision with partners like you. But the remaining portion is unsupervised and allocated in a very ad hoc manner by the retail. Right, and you can see the kind of allocations for this is primarily, 25 to 30% would be in debt mutual funds, GSECs, or other kind of equity, fixed income instruments. And again, these are indicative figures. Okay, so there's no hard and fast that this is how much a particular HNI is invested, but on a typical investor, equity mutual funds would be about 25%. PMS, AIF, or portfolio advisory services like us from us or other advisors, that would be around 20%. And structured products and thematic investments would be around 20%. Plus, they would have a trading portfolio where they would invest in single stocks they like, or they might trade on various things themselves. That would be not more than 5%. It could be zero as well for many of them, and a little bit of cash. On the other hand, the retail investor would have hardly 30-40% under equity and debt mutual funds, under a distributor or advisor, under an expert supervision. And the remaining they would have allocated either, typically to bank fixed deposits. And, bank fixed deposits won't give them high returns. So they get lured by a little bit of 1% or 1.5% more in corporate fixed deposits or fixed deposits issued by NBFCs or cooperative banks, and without realizing how risky these things are. But on their own, they just look at that little bit higher returns or promised coupons and get attracted. And then there is a trading portfolio which might have something like 20% with randomly bought, whatever tips they get or whatever excites them. And I'm not saying they don't know anything, but on an average, some investors of course know. So around 20% in the trading portfolio. So this is the difference. And so this cartoon or this thing, if you see, the cat is the Alice in Wonderland. Alice is asking the Cheshire Cat that which way I should go from here, and the cat says, where do you want to go? Alice says, I don't much care where. And then it doesn't matter which way you go, the cat says. So this is the situation with a typical retail investor, not very clear, not willing to share a lot of information. And again, as I say, it's not true for everyone, but a typical investor might just say, okay, I want this, I want that, but not very focused. And if they're not very focused, the financial expert cannot help them, like yourselves. Okay, so this is the typical situation. So we have summarized that for a retail portfolio, what are the main problems? The main problem is that the significant portion of portfolio is unsupervised, which means that unwanted risk is lurking inside that portfolio without anyone realizing. So it's not only unwanted, it is also unidentified. Okay, since it's not under your supervision, you cannot guide them as to what are the risks present, and they might be unaware that there are risks present. As we have all seen for last 2-3 years, number of corporate deposits or cooperative bank deposits, etc., have been in trouble, or NBFCs. So that is just one example. Secondly, the significant risk in their trading or speculative portfolio, stock portfolios. So, and the second problem is because PMS or AIF or thematic investments, using structured products, etc., that is again not available to a typical retail investor. So the growth portion, growth asset classes are also missing. So these are the two problems which are there. We will see how that might change. So for a typical HNI investment, this is the investment universe. On the x-axis at the bottom, you will see horizontally, the risk is increasing from left to right. And on the y-axis, the range of returns is increasing from the bottom to top. So on the leftmost bottom is fixed deposits, government bonds, etc., which is the lowest risk and of course low return. Then there are debt mutual funds and corporate bonds, listed corporate bonds with a little bit of higher risks and a little bit of higher returns. Then you have equity mutual funds with significantly more risk compensated by significantly higher returns. And then beyond that, to an HNI, PMS, AIF, or sophisticated advisory portfolios are available. And then beyond that, there are structured products and thematic investments with still higher risks and returns. And then last, the highest, most riskiest is single stocks or trading portfolios. But again, there is the range provided there. Okay. And the arrow you see, the red to green, that shows the range of returns of these products. So as you can see, fixed deposits have hardly any difference in the range. Debt mutual funds or corporate bonds, they would have a little bit of a range of return around a median or average. And so that range also keeps increasing as you go from left to right. This is how historically and so far the RII investment universe looks like. So you have fixed deposits, you have corporate debt funds and mutual funds and bonds, and you have equity mutual funds. And yes, you can do single stocks directly. What is missing is PMS, AIF style portfolios, and definitely missing is thematic investments. So these two asset classes are missing. And so it's no surprise that the portfolio looks like this. Okay, it's not a surprise. But there are other reasons why the portfolio looks like that as well. So now we are happy to introduce a new asset class under OmniScience Small Case. And this is how the RIA investment universe will look from now on. So now you have newly available asset classes. So you have the OmniCore small cases, which are which will provide similar risk return profile as a typical PMS, long only PMS or a long only AIF, which was available only to HNIs. And we have the Omni thematic small cases, which have similar risk reward characteristics as a typical HNI thematic investment. So these are the two new classes, and we will share more about how to use this for your clients and to boost the quality of the portfolio of the client. So when you add new asset classes, naturally the overall risk, even if you add a riskier asset class, naturally all of you know that the overall portfolio risk will be reduced and a further return is added. So the risk adjusted return of these portfolios goes up. Most important point here that not only are you getting new asset classes, it is zero paperwork and what we call one-click investing. Okay, so these OmniScience small cases are supernormal portfolios. We will explain what is supernormal about these in the future slides. But here I would like to explain the zero paperwork investment account. So on small case, without any paperwork, if you have an existing broking account with the partner brokers, which practically all the major brokers are partners of small case. And so you can do without any new paperwork, that platform can be used for as an investment account. Secondly, you can do one-click investing. So even though a portfolio has a number of stocks, you can just press a button, and just like you buy a mutual fund or an ETF, you can buy the whole portfolio with a single click. What comes to you now with that is HNI style strategies available. Of course, these are all long only, no long short, no derivatives, no futures, no options, nothing like that. Okay, it's long only equity portfolios listed on Indian stock exchanges. That is what is available. But now the typical PMS minimum ticket size is 50 lakhs. AIF minimum is 1 crore. But on small case, OmniScience strategies, some are available even at 5,000 rupees minimum. A lot of them are available below 1 lakh rupees. Secondly, you get now a chance to invest in high potential thematic opportunities and typically yet to be discovered ideas. Third is enhanced safety, enhanced returns. So that is coming out of our OmniScience philosophy of investing in a scientific manner. So we'll talk about scientific investing framework. And all of this is created by a team which is our global equity specialists. People who have graduated from prominent premier institutes like IITs and IIMs or international universities. So these are some of the broking partners. So if anyone has a broking account with any of these, Zerodha being one of the largest, 5paisa, Angel, IIFL, HDFC Securities, etc. So if people have broking accounts with these clients, there is absolutely no paperwork required, and they can directly start investing in OmniScience small cases on a separate platform. So the OmniScience small case, on the small case platform, once you invest, you will see your NAVs, you will see how that full portfolio is behaving, okay, without getting inside the individual stocks. If you want to, of course, that information is also available. And if someone doesn't have an account already, with zero paperwork, they can open at least on Zerodha and 5paisa and maybe some other platforms as well. So it's a very easy platform to get started, no hassle services. So our investment philosophy, which we mentioned, the scientific investing, it is based on this Omni Insight. So there would be a number of things present on small case from different providers, but this is the difference which OmniScience brings to the table. Our philosophy is most market participants chase alpha, and what they get is actually risks. So you're chasing excitement and you're chasing that I will beat the market, and you're doing crazy things because of that without realizing. Of course, it looks smart at the time when you're doing it. But what you end up in the long run is getting the risks. While our insight is that we could actually chase safety, and this is contrary to high risk, high return philosophy. If you could choose safe, you could chase safety and you will get alpha manifested over a long term. Okay. So here we will not go very deep, but I will go a little bit deeper than this, just so you have a feel for what is scientific investing. So in scientific investing framework, we start from the whole market, where there in India, there are about 2,000 companies. And I'll just take an example of our multi-cap portfolio. In current terminology, I would say it's a flexi-cap portfolio rather than multi-cap. So the flexi-cap portfolio, we focus on the 1,000 largest companies in India, from which first we remove capital destroyers. So these are companies with weak balance sheets, weak business operations, and that's why they destroy the shareholder capital. So they're taken out. Next, we clean up the universe and take out the capital eroders. Typically, these are companies which have no competitive advantages. Since they don't have much competitive advantages, their return on capital is much lower than the cost of capital. So the ROE, ROC, etc. is not value creating. Although the income statement looks that the company is in profits, it even pays its taxes to the government, but actually it is not creating value for shareholders. So that is capital eroders. They are also taken out. Third is capital imploders. These are typically very high quality companies, strong balance sheets, good business, but since everyone in the market is highly knowledgeable about them, it gets overvalued. A lot of time it goes into bubble. Okay, and you don't want to be invested in those companies. A lot of people chase them and a lot of people get into them because quarter after quarter they seem to be doing very well, and people say, oh, I have to pay up for this because this is a very high quality company, and if you don't, you will be sitting out and missing all the action. Absolutely true, but this is what we call a capital imploder, because if and when, okay, if and when, and most likely there is no if, it is practically guaranteed, because you are in real world, the best of the best companies are going to face some trouble. It could be external, it could be internal, it could be employees, it could be regulators, it could be suppliers, it could be competitors, it could be that the world has changed. And so eventually things don't work out. And even if there is a small hiccup, the valuation, that bubble is so big that that's a small prick and the share price collapses. That is why we call it capital imploder. So we don't like those companies, okay, at all. And then what we are left after taking out all this is capital multipliers. These are supernormal companies. Supernormal is an economic term, which means supernormal profitability, right? Supernormal companies, strong balance sheets, cash rich, large profits, large cash flows, good return on capitals, and large growth opportunities typically, and available at discount to intrinsic value, significant discount to conservatively estimated intrinsic value. That means supernormal prices. Okay, so this is the kind of companies we search from, the capital multipliers, and create a portfolio called the supernormal portfolio. I can't spend more time than this today because that's not the agenda. We'll share the OmniScience small case universe here. And as you can see from the center, first is the core portfolio, where the minimum ticket size is roughly 1 lakh rupees. It's called Omni Super Stocks. So the core portfolio, initial portfolio for most people would start from there. Then we have the SIP portfolios, okay, systematic investment plan portfolios, Omni Royals, which is our large caps, and our large caps are true large caps, sticking to, or as far as possible, sticking to the largest 100 companies from the SEBI notified or AMFI notified large cap portfolio. Okay, they're at the time of change, like when they notify the June and January. So post that there could be some deviation for some time, but we try to stick to, because some stocks will go to mid caps, and I don't know, I'm not going to sell if that is in the portfolio just because the portfolio has been, stock has been moved to mid cap. So anyway, so Omni Royals is the large cap, Omni Knights is the next 150 mid caps, from which we have selected 10 stocks, and Omni Supertrons is remaining 750 stocks, from which again we create a 10 stock portfolio. While Omni Super Stocks core portfolio is 25 stocks, Omni Royals, Omni Knights, Omni Supertrons are 10 stock portfolios for SIPs, ranging from 5,000 to 15,000 rupees, or maybe 20,000 rupees. So it's perfect for a SIP. And then we have number of thematic portfolios. For example, Omni DX, this is digital transformation, a lot of IT companies and a lot of global clients for them. So this is targeting the more than $100 trillion digital transformation impact, which World Economic Forum has talked about and researched, where over next 10 years, that's the kind of impact which is expected on the global economy. So it's a huge opportunity, large growth opportunity, which we had identified about 3 years back. And the strategy is, and that time everyone was extremely skeptical about IT companies and digital transformation, etc. And they thought Indian companies can't do it. We had done a lot of research, which proved to us, and we were convinced that the Indian IT companies can do it. They had a lot of acquisition, they had grown organically, they had developed a lot of expertise in this area. And now all the market accepts it. And it's probably one of the best performing strategies in the market. So and the whole runway is available to them for next 10 to 20 years. You know, that digital transformation, which includes artificial intelligence, cloud, 5G, Internet of Things, blockchain, etc. All of that is covered under this, and there is a huge runway for that. Okay. Next, we have Omni Capital and Enablers, then Omni Bullet Train. So this Omni Bullet Train includes a number of metro railways, other high-speed or semi-high-speed trains. So there is a number of such projects going on. It's already on a very advanced stage, and that's the kind of theme you are exposed to with Omni Bullet Train. So very undiscovered and below the radar kind of themes. These are not themes you would have heard of anywhere else, but they are very strong themes nonetheless. And that's why they are scientific investing opportunities. Omni Power, which is on the power sector, Omni Bharat Defense, which is on the defense sector. And then this is a special, I won't even call it thematic, Omni Super Dividend, which is focused on income generation. We'll talk about that. So OmniScience core allocations, as I mentioned, the OmniScience Supernormal Multi-Cap, or in new terminology, we can even call it Flexi Cap. So these are the, according to us, the best 25 stocks based on our analysis. Then I already mentioned Omni Royals, Omni Knights, and Omni Supertrons. Thematic portfolios I have already introduced to you. So I'll not go over them again. So today we are also doing a soft launch of Omni Super Dividend. So in the zero interest rate policy world, ZIRP, right? And some people call it NIRP, negative interest rate policy world, because in the developed markets, actually there are European countries with a negative policy rate, as well as, let's say for India, it is LIRP, low interest rate policy world. Okay, but in all cases, the real interest rate, net of inflation, is most likely zero or most likely negative, right? So this is the ZIRP world, and you're typically getting 5% or so in most of your bank fixed deposits in any good bank. Maybe a riskier bank and so on might be offering you a little bit more, but I don't think that makes sense to get excited about that. Uh, Again, I can't go deep into the super dividend, but the main point is all of these companies, there are 8 companies in there, all of those companies are AAA rated by CRISIL or India Ratings or CARE, most of them by CRISIL, okay, AAA rated or having A1 plus, which is equivalent to the AAA rated, which is the highest bond ratings, okay. So they are the safest companies according to that. And of course, we have done their balance sheet analysis, etc. as well. So they all fit into the scientific investing criteria, but they provide as a portfolio, the average yield, the portfolio yield is around 8%. And we will be releasing a report in the next week, which will give you more insight into why we are. So this is not your typical, you think, oh, I know the stock which is yielding very high, and somebody is very excited about those stocks and somebody is very skeptical about those stocks. So we are not talking, this is not your, typical high dividend stock or anything. There's a lot of research behind it, and once you go through the report, you will understand. The minimum is somewhere around 10,000. So pretty small ticket sizes to earn a 8% yield for someone who can tolerate a equity risk. So this is an indicative asset allocation for an aggressive investor. Say someone in their 30s or just about early 40s, right, with a long investment horizon in front of them, very strong stable income, all liabilities taken care of, good insurance, good contingent funds, etc., emergency funds. So this is how their investment financial assets would look like. Okay, we think it should look like. Okay, again, for each client, it's different based on their investment objectives, risk profile, investment horizons, etc., liquidity requirements. But we think this is how it can look. About 25% in debt mutual funds, GSECs, 25% in equity mutual funds, which you are probably already supervising for them. The new additions we are discussing is about 20% in OmniScience core portfolios and a lot of it in different OmniScience thematics. So an illustrative model allocation for a small or about 2 lakhs is they can do a lump sum in super stocks. So all of that money goes into super stocks, and then they can start as SIP with either Supertrons, which is a minimum ticket size of 6,000, or Knights, which is 10,000 to 15,000, and Royals, which is also around 15,000. And the best thing is it's the platform allows you to do not only monthly SIPs, you can even do quarterly SIP. So if let's say 15,000 is not the capability, but they have on a monthly basis, but they still want to do Royals, large caps, they can assign it on a quarterly SIP. And so they will have around 5,000 monthly, but invested on a quarterly basis into Royals. So mid to large ticket sizes, this is how allocation can be proposed. So someone between 2 to 10 lakhs mid ticket size, maybe they want to allocate 5 lakh rupees. So 2.5 lakhs would go to super stocks on the core portfolio, and 1 lakh in Omni Bullet Train, 70,000 into 75,000 into power, and 75,000 into Omni Defense. Of course, they can add an SIP as well. Similarly, for a 10 lakh or more portfolio, so let's say a typical 25 lakh rupees allocation, super stocks 40% or 10 lakhs, Royals 2 lakh 50,000, Bullet train 3,75,000, power 3,75,000, defense 2,50,000, and digital transformation DX 2,50,000. Of course, all of the specific theme which you propose to someone will depend on their interest levels as well. There are people who believe in the bullet train and the metro train and semi-high speed train projects which the government is doing, and there are people who might say, oh no, this is not happening, etc. But because of that, a large opportunity is available. We don't have to convince everyone about every theme. Somebody else is excited about defense. They are interested in that part of the thing and want to allocate because they know large defense budgets are going to be the need of the future. Third is power. As the GDP grows, power is a given. So the expectation is a pretty high growth rate in power, and combined with valuation, that's a great opportunity. So and digital transformation. So somebody who also wants to have a dollar hedge, so rupee depreciates against the dollar in the long run. DX provides you that, as well as it provides you exposure to the developed economies through the IT companies, right? So these are different kind of themes, and depending on the taste of the investor, they might, some might be more suitable to some investors. Now, so the income portfolio, it's a 8% yield, much higher than your typical corporate bond as well in today's scenario. So we think this is a very rare opportunity because Mr. Market is making a mistake. And there are reasons to believe, which we have elaborated in our upcoming report, of why this dividend yield is likely to remain, as well as it's likely to have a growth. So it's not just a stable dividend, it is likely to have a growing dividend stream. Okay, and so anyway, I'll not go more into it. I think this is a unique opportunity which we have identified, and you look at the report and you can decide further. I'll do a quick illustration of a situation which the independent financial experts like yourself, you are bigger experts at this than us. This is just to provoke thought, so that, and provide food for thought, so that you will know all this much better than us. So Ajinkya is an independent financial expert, and he has a client called Virat. So full disclosure, I know nothing about cricket and IPL, etc. So anyway, his client Virat is well sorted. He has an emergency fund. He has a lot of cash in his savings account for day-to-day needs. His net investable surplus financial assets is about 10 lakhs. The current allocation is shown on the left side. Okay, so it's mostly ad hoc, as we discussed in the beginning, like a typical retail investor. But he has 2.5 lakhs in equity mutual funds with Ajinkya. So we call it supervised asset. And he has another 2.5 lakh in debt mutual funds with Ajinkya. So 5 lakh of his portfolio is supervised by Ajinkya. Typically, this would be less than that, probably 3 lakhs or so. And the unsupervised assets, 1.5 lakh in two well-known private banks, FDs, in the form of fixed deposits, rupees 1 lakh in a corporate deposits, which is maturing in about 3 months, that is earning about 6.5%. 50,000 is lying in savings bank account from his last few months of salary, which he didn't bother to invest yet. 1.5 lakh is distributed in 3 stocks, which he personally was told by someone or the other. So maybe typical tips or research tip by his broker. And 50,000 is he's using for various trading activities of futures, and which is not really making a lot of money on, and he's aware of that now. What is known to Ajinkya, and which Virat has shared, that he has a just born child, and for his school admissions, he will need about 12.5 lakhs of voluntary deposits, right? Most of the schools ask for this, and now the rates have gone up. So he needs about 12.5 lakhs in 5-6 years. So this is the solution suggested by Ajinkya, that lump sum 2.5 lakhs in super stocks. So you allocate the 2 lakhs in the trading account, and 50,000 from the savings account and allocate to super stocks, right? So equity goes to equity with the 50,000 from lying idle in savings account into super stocks. He suggests an additional SIP of 15,000 in Supertrons. This is small caps, but definitely Virat at this stage can take that risk, right? With his current situation being young and all. Corporate deposits of 1 lakh, which is maturing in 3 months, earning 6.5, is reallocated to Omni Super dividends. Okay. The two birds are killed with one stone here. One single corporate deposit, you're taking the full company risk. Now, this Omni dividend portfolio has 8 stocks, so there is risk is significantly reduced, and these are all AAA rated companies, as I mentioned. So actually, it is reduced much more than way beyond the diversification. Okay, and the yield has increased from 6.5 to 8%. Although, yes, this is an equity portfolio, so in the short term it will fluctuate, and the dividend could also fluctuate. But there are reasons to believe why the dividend is going to only most likely increase. Most likely, I say. Okay, you read the report to understand this better. And 1.5 lakh fixed deposits in private banks is moved around 50,000 to bullet train, 50,000 to power, 50,000 to defense. So even in the thematic investments, he is diversifying across different themes, which will work out in different time frames, right? And at different levels. So this is how it looked before. The blue portion is what is under supervision by the financial expert Ajinkya. Earlier, so from the 10 lakhs, he could only supervise 5 lakhs. And now nearly 100% of that is under his supervision. As well as now it's a much better allocated, much more scientifically allocated portfolio for Virat, from 50% of it being ad hoc allocations. So win-win for both of them. Virat is also in a win-win situation with a very strong portfolio and his financial objectives hopefully getting satisfied. And Ajinkya is in a very good situation because his AUM has practically doubled within a 3 to 6 month time frame. As the SIPs get added, it will become even better and better over a period of time. Okay. Of course, with AUM, the revenues also grow. I will not spend time on this, but just explain conceptually that once you visit, like how do you invest in these OmniScience small cases? Once you go to omniscience.smallcase.com and you select the appropriate strategy, log in with the broker credentials. So you don't have to create any new login ID, etc. Although it will ask you, small case platform will ask you for your name and telephone number and email ID, but you don't have to create a login per se. And then you use your broker login. Let's say you have a bank account, security account at HDFC Securities. So you can directly click on that and it will take you to within the small case itself, it will take you to HDFC login. Once you log in that, it will bring you back to the small case. You have to fill the risk profiling as a client. You subscribe to the strategy. You invest in the strategy. So once you subscribe, then you have to click invest and invest. And then on a regular basis on the small case app as well as the website, the client will be able to see their portfolio performance and updates. And whenever there is a rebalance due, maybe once in 3 months or so, you can click rebalance. When you suggest more top-ups to the client, then he can do top-ups just with a click of a button. Okay, so this broadly is what it is. So there will be, especially for the partners, there will be a special link created and you can share that link once you have discussed with the client and he's interested. And if he goes through that link, he will be able to log in much more easier and the credit will go to you as his investment supervisor. The details are provided here. So how clients can subscribe, how clients can invest, how clients can rebalance. But you see at the bottom, there is also how a distributor partner and their relationship managers can uh, uh, do referrals and add the clients to specific products. Okay, so all of that is there, which you can discuss further with the team and understand better. This is our team. That's myself as the Chief Investment Strategist. That's Ashwini Shami. He's the Portfolio Manager. And that's Varun Sood, who does all the quantitative research. So analyzing more than 1,000 companies in India and about 2,000 companies globally using quantitative tools. So that's our Board of Business Advisors, Asit C. Mehta, who's the chairman of the Asit C. Mehta Group, which is a large brokerage and financial services firm. And then this is Deena Mehta, who's former president of and the first lady president of Bombay Stock Exchange. And of course, I can't stop. There are numerous things I can talk about them, but there's no time. This is the most important slide of all this. So if you forget everything else, just read this slide. And that's the most important business we do is disclaimers and disclosures, right? You all agree with me on this. And this is our contact information. So you can contact on the landline or the mobile number provided using even WhatsApp, number one. Number two, you can follow us on LinkedIn, either as OmniScience Capital or as OmniScience Small Case as a showcase page. We also have a number of articles on Medium, OmniViews coming out there. Our website is of course there where everything is available. Then we have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to. If some of you are on Facebook and not on LinkedIn, you can follow us on Facebook. And there are a number of Twitter handles. The relevant one here is OmniScience_IN. Okay, so that's the relevant one for today's discussion and small case. So thanks everyone. So thanks everyone, and I will now hand it over to Ashwini for Q&A and further discussions. So Ashwini, if we have any questions, then we can.
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Vikas, for a wonderful session. I'm sure that participants would be really excited, just like us, to look at so many interesting investment opportunities. Thank you, participants, for listening intently. You can post any questions that you may have for Vikas on your chat windows, and we'll be happy to answer that. In the meanwhile, I'll just reiterate what Vikas said, that one of the reports is coming out on super dividend. That is one of the small cases that we have launched. It will be shared in next couple of days with you all. So please go through that. Any queries and on that you can write to us on our email. And also look out for our regular webinars, which we are going to host every month. And we are going to discuss all small cases that are out there. And the idea was to give you a perspective that how to go about allocating to all these small cases. So I will just take up a couple of minutes pause here and see if there are any questions. There is one question, Vikas. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. So, gentlemen asked that what would you recommend, as in how many uh, thematic investment opportunities one investor should invest into?
So, see, thematic investment strategies. So we have to first allocate a certain portion which we are keeping for thematics, right? And from within that, we should take. See, this is just like your typical diversification. Any thematic which we are creating is not just to create one more thematic. Okay, I don't want to speak for the other fund managers, but anything coming out of Omniscience Capital, it is well researched, and we are very clear that there is a opportunity here rather than there is something to sell here. Okay, so in that sense, these are every single of those themes are worth investing in, and we think that if you have that kind of money, then you should invest across all the thematics which come out. Of course, when people have a limitation, then I would still suggest at least 2 to 3 themes for people who have a limitation on the capital. And again, don't go crazy about thematics as in you don't do core and you're only doing thematics. Yes, it is possible that someone has a lot of large cap or multi cap mutual funds and they directly want to allocate to Omniscience thematics, in which case you can choose around 3 to 5 thematics for them.
Sure. So there's another question. Any US strategy with lower than PMS amount?
Yes, so today's discussion is focused on Indian strategies on Omniscience small cases. But as I said, even here, DX is providing you exposure to the global economy and US economy and the IT sector, global technology sector as well. We will be launching 1 or 2 similar strategies in future as well. But a pure US strategy where you want to invest in US listed stocks, that is available. Yes, it is available below 10 lakh, below the 50 lakh ticket size of PMS. It's also available. We will be announcing all those things in about a few weeks. And that time you can attend the webinar and hear about that. But it's available, yes. So there are 2 strategies. One is the US multi-cap. So it's similar to India super stocks, but it's US super stocks, okay, which is the flexi cap of US across S&P 1500, the large, mid and small caps. And there is another strategy called AIoT, Artificial Intelligence and Internet of Things, which is investing in the US listed AI related companies. But that's not available on small case. That will be on another platform we will share with you.
The next question is asset management fee same if the client comes direct?
Asset management fees are listed on the platform itself. So the asset management fees remains the same, 2.5%. So yes, it remains the same. And when partners are convincing clients for that and supervising them, naturally they have to be a good portion of the fees is shared with the partner. But a client approaching us directly gets the same fees.
The second part, which I guess you have touched upon, can we suggest only thematic small cases since client already has equity portfolio?
Understood. Yes. As I said, while we do, our opinion is that our core equity strategies are much superior to what is available on mutual funds. But I agree that since they might already be allocated on that, and that's not a problem we need solution for, then you can definitely go and directly look at the thematics. So in which case I would say something like, whatever they have already allocated, about around 50% more can be thought of depending on various risk profiles. 20 to 50% can be additionally allocated to thematics.
Great. The next question is, I'm sure will be on the mind of a lot of people. So Vikas, do you think a person, for a person, is it the right time to enter the market as it is too high, or should we still want some wait for some corrections?
Sure. So of course, one is to look at the index levels, and definitely if you look at the index levels like Nifty or Sensex, etc., that is looking like a bubble. And so if you're directly investing in a typical large cap mutual fund with a large AUM, the portfolio is quite similar to Sensex or Nifty. So if you are, or even a multi-cap or not multi-cap, but a flexi-cap fund, so then that doesn't make sense. But if you look at our portfolios, for example, the P, just, we look at the market P, Nifty P, right? So that's something like 30 to nearly 40 sometimes, right? So it's very, very high. But if you look at the portfolio P of Omni Super Stocks, just as an example, of or any of our thematics, and that is available directly when you go to the small case platform, just below the chart there is a button called compare ratios. You can look up our dividend yields, price to earnings, etc., and our PE ratios are typically below 15. In one or two cases they might be closer to 20, but most of them are not even 15. Okay, so entering those, we don't see as a challenge at all. Absolutely, people can enter the market at these levels, but with the right strategies.
Great. So the next question is, do we have dynamic asset allocation kind of portfolios?
They will be coming in future, but right now, no, not on this platform yet. But very soon they will be introduced. Multi-asset class portfolios as well as dynamic portfolios.
Okay, I guess we can take one last question. So it is, do you have regular SWP kind of schemes?
That is difficult to implement on this. What you can do as a, supervising the client, once the client has allocated, you can then advise them to start withdrawing on a systematic basis. But on the small case platform, we cannot offer that. Other than the small case platform, OmniScience does offer something like that, which we call Omni Super Income Strategy. Okay, so OmniScience Super Income Strategy, scientific income strategy is available, but that's not implementable on small case.
Okay, so because I'll just try to push in one last one. Question says, super stocks, what is the return that we expect in the next 5 years and above?
Yeah, so number one, I cannot tell you anything of what is the return going to be. Okay, so let me clarify 2-3 things here. Yes, I can talk about expected returns, and I'm assuming that everyone here is a professional from the financial industry and not a client per se. So I would never give a number to the client in front of client. Okay, expected returns we can talk about in a compliant manner, but most clients I have seen, even very sophisticated, people with engineering and MBA backgrounds, they get confused as a promised return. We are not showing you promised return or indicative returns. But having said all that disclaimer, the expected return in our opinion for Nifty, let's start with that. So Nifty or Sensex is around 10 to 12% on an average. If the GDP takes off, and which is likely to take off. So for next 3 to 5 years, if the GDP itself is in 15% range, then naturally you can expect that Nifty and Sensex themselves will deliver something higher than 12%. Okay, we expect to beat Nifty and majority of the other fund managers in the market. That's what we can say. Okay, I don't want to say anything more than that. But that's, and you can do your own estimation looking at our earnings yields, which is the inverse of PE. Okay, use that, and then you can look at the ROEs to look at the compounding. And in our reports in OmniViews, which we regularly share, we provide the growth numbers for different segments of our portfolios. Okay, the expected growth, etc., on a fundamental growth in their revenues and things like that. Expected growth. So based on that, you can figure out that the yields plus growth, that gives you the expected return for the portfolio.
Great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for all your queries. And there are certain queries which we could not answer because of the limitation of the time. But we'll please write to us or call us at the given coordinates, and we'll be happy to share or answer all your queries. And thank you so much again. And we look forward to connecting with you separately. Thanks. Thanks, Vikas.
Thank you, everyone.